We thank you one and all and wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
It's Christmas Eve in L.A. But a team of terrorists...
You want money? What kind of terrorists are you?
Who said we were terrorists?
...have their own holiday plans.
And I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me.
Okay. We do it the hard way.
But the one thing they didn't plan on was New York cop John McTiernan.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew?
You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
And you'll have it.
They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
Come to Papa, honey.
You really an American?
Only if New Jersey counts.
What does he think he's doing?
Good job.
They're using artillery on us.
You idiot. It's the police. It's him.
He's an easy guy to like.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis. Die Hard.
Hey guys, what's up? You are John McTiernan for life, and welcome to my movie review and retrospective on one of my favorite movies of all time, and that's of course Die Hard. 40 stories of sheer adventure. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker! Now, Die Hard is a film that I think it's timeless. It's an epic classic film. It's 1988 classic, one of the greatest, hands down, best action films of all time. And Die Hard is one of my favorite action movies. It's a film that I think it's timeless. I think it's an epic. I think it's a Christmas movie. It's a classic action film. And I did review this movie, but I'm gonna do it now once again, and this time I'm gonna talk about on a retrospective review. And yeah, that's a retrospective way, because Die Hard deserves it. It's one of my favorite action films of all time. Now, this is the slipcase, Blu-ray case cover, slipcase, 30-year anniversary, which I got from the 80s. Sorry about that, but I actually got it from 2018, not 80s, from 2018, which was released. But Die Hard is gonna hit 35th anniversary this July 20th. On 20 July it's gonna be actually the 30-year anniversary. And I wanted to do this review for a while, and Die Hard is my favorite Bruce Willis film. Today is Die Hard my favorite Die Hard film, because the original is a classic. It's hands down. It's one-man army. It's done with heart. It's practical. It's all realistic. It's done with heart. And Bruce Willis is John McClane. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. And Die Hard, I love to death. I love dearly this movie to death. That's one of the reasons why it's my title, Rambo McClane, because I'm a fan of both franchise, of both action franchise, Rambo and Die Hard franchise. But I'll put Die Hard above Rambo films. Yes, I'll put this movie above Rambo films. I'll put this movie above any action movie nowadays, because this movie is a phenomenal, timeless, epic movie. It's an epic Christmas classic action movie. And yeah, there are fans who are actually fans of Hard Target. They're fans of Aliens. They prefer Aliens. They're actually fans of Rambo, First World Part 2. They're fans of RoboCop. They're fans of Rocky, the first Rocky. There are so many fans who love these classic movies that they grew up. But my favorite was gonna be Die Hard. Yes, I'll put this movie above Aliens. I'll put this movie above Rambo. Yes, I'm a fan of Rambo franchise, but I'll put Die Hard above Rambo films. Yes, I'll put Die Hard. I'll put all 4 Die Hard movies above all 4 Rambo movies. Because that's how much I love this movie. It's dearly to my heart. But actually, you know, my history with Die Hard is like this. I saw the trailer of Die Hard The Vengeance because I have a poster right there. I saw Die Hard The Vengeance trailer. And the first time I saw this movie, I had no idea what it was about. The most memorable movie that Bruce Willis did that I actually really saw was The Last Boy Scout. And that's one of the reasons why I love The Last Boy Scout to death, which I did 30-year anniversary. Yes, The Last Boy Scout last year in December hit 30-year anniversary, and it's on my channel and it's still up there. But Die Hard is actually one of those movies that I really love to death. You know, I'll put Die Hard above Blade. I'll put Die Hard about any films. Die Hard The Vengeance are my top 2 favorite action movies. And I've watched this movie in Monday, you know, I rewatched this movie Monday and still holds up today. This is a 20th Century Fox classic movie. It still holds up today and it's such a badass film. Now, Die Hard is a kick-ass badass film. Yes, this movie kicks ass. A kick-ass rated R action movie. And yeah, it's a rated R. By the way, I'll show you the Blu-ray on the end because I got that with a slipcase. Now, Die Hard is based on Roderick Thorpe's novel. Roderick Thorpe, he had a dream about a man being chased by other men on the roof. So that actually was an idea. Now, Die Hard is based on a novel by Roderick Thorpe, which is titled Nothing Lasts Forever. Now, it's a sequel to the novel of True Detective with Frank Sinatra. And at one point, Die Hard's supposed to be sequel to Commando. It's supposed to be Commando 2, but Arnold said no. I think there's still a script out there for Commando 2, but Arnold Schwarzenegger said no. So, so Commando 2 became Die Hard. And also, the movie is completely different by its novel. Because in Die Hard, we have a young police officer from New York, John McClane. In the book, it's actually the oldest detective, oldest cop, retired cop, Joe Leland, who came to Claxton's building, and like I said, terrorists. They actually went and they seized the building and they declared war. And you know, Joe Leland, he has a daughter, a strange daughter, and he starts to believe that his daughter's probably involved in the robbery, but no, it's not. On the end, you know, he doesn't save his daughter. This movie, John McClane saves his wife. In that movie, he doesn't. But yeah, it's based on the novel Nothing Lasts Forever, and I actually know a lot of it. In that book was also a female terrorist. They put female terrorist in the third movie, but in the book it was a female terrorist. And yeah, Joe Leland knew that by killing this terrorist will stop and save the other hostages, and that's what John McClane does. Now, I'll actually go, now the story, you know, everyone probably knows the story, High Above the City, that's actually the title. In LA, a team of terrorists has seized the building, and they take everyone as a hostage and declare war, but one man slips away, an off-duty cop, and he's the only one and the only chance that anyone's got. And yeah, that's actually is basically, you know, the plot. And yeah, and it's actually based on a book. And the reason the open scene when we see, you know, John McClane is traveling with an airplane, and when this passenger is talking to him, you know, fists and toes, and he says, it's okay, I'm a cop. The reason why he carries a gun is because John McClane is afraid that someone will actually kidnap or hijack an airplane, and that it really did happen in the past. That's one of the reasons he was traveling with a gun, because he was afraid of flying. We find out later in the sequel, and of course in the fourth movie when he was flying a helicopter in order to conquer his fear of flying, and that's one of the reasons he was carrying a gun. Now Die Hard also spawned 4 sequels, and they want Charlize Theron. She wants a lesbian Die Hard to make, or a Die Hard reboot, or whatever. Fuck her. I don't want to see that garbage movie. But yeah, so like I said, police officer John McClane flies, off-duty cop flies from New York to Los Angeles in the Japanese business building Nakatomi Plaza, in which is a Japanese company, and his wife, she works in the company, and it's Christmas Eve, and the employees in the 30 store, they actually have the party, and they're the only ones left. And the whole building is still under construction, so there aren't no stairs. There are actually elevators that flies, that drives up there. So John McClane, when he enters the estranged party of his estranged wife, they go in the argument because of because of his last name, because her last name is Gennaro, not his last name McClane, and that John doesn't like it. So while he's talking to the limo driver Argyle, yes, limo driver Argyle is in this movie. He becomes McClane's friend. I don't remember that song, but yeah, when McClane talks about it, a team of terrorists, actually a team of mercenaries, they actually drive in the building, and 2 of the henchmen go and they kill security guys. The guy in the lobby, they go and shoots him. And Theo, played by Clarence Gilead Jr., he's a thief. And Carl, he's a badass henchman, played by Alexander Godunov, rest in peace. And the other team of mercenaries, they showed up in the parking garage. They actually closed all the exits. No one can get in or out, no one. So this is actually now the shit's real. They have automatic hell weapons, Heckler and Koch, submachine automatic guns, automatic weapons, rocket launcher missiles. And they go with the elevator to the 30th floor, and they start shooting everyone. And all the telephones doesn't work. And when John McClane sees that, he hears the shots, and he grabs the gun, but it's too late. There are too many armed men, in which McClane cannot do anything. And McClane slips away, to the stairs, and McClane's. He's actually in his t-shirt. He's actually in his t-shirt with his service revolver, and he also has, and he also has only his pants on it and his barefoot. And that's how John McClane looks like, like a real badass hero. It's my favorite comic book hero. He's not a superhero, and that's what I love about Die Hard. John McClane is not a hero. He's not a superhero. He's not Superman. He's not Batman. He's a human being, and one of Bruce Willis' best roles. And also Bruce Willis loved the character, his favorite character, because the reason why this movie is so done with heart is because one man against an army, against a team of terrorists, and no one he can trust. It was done with heart. He bleeds, he's hurt, he's tired, and he's alone up there. And I love, in that time there weren't any cell phones. The telephones doesn't work. He tries to call for help, because he's alone. He needs help. He tried to call for help. So he pulls fire alarm. He tries, he finds that radio frequency and tries to call the police. He tries to call the cops, and people and dispatchers, they don't believe him or his story. and until he sends the body down there, and sends the message. But no one down there, is even willing to help except Sergeant Al Powell, who's the only one that talks with John McClane. And I love the bond between those two heroes. They're both heroes in my opinion because they never see each other. I love, from cop to cop, how they talk to each other in the radio frequency. And that's how I love this movie. That's how I love this movie to death. I love it how they talk, Rickman Johnson did a fantastic job as Sergeant Al Powell. And I'll get soon to the cast, which I love the cast. But and that's how the shit starts, And John McClane, he's trying to call the help because he's out. He's one man. He's out singlet. He's alone. He can't do much. He didn't even had a bulletproof vest. Because then those tactics will be impossible. And what I love about Die Hard is how John McClane is climbing the elevator shaft, or he was driving under the elevator shaft, or how he is climbing, And there's just a lot of situations and scenes, in the film that I just love, Bruce Willis is John McClane, I actually do agree with that. He's John McClane. His best role and my favorite character. It's my favorite movie, my favorite character. I prefer Die Hard movies over Rambo films. And the original is a classic. No, it's just not classic. The original is the best one because of the story, the action. Everything about this movie that I think is timeless. It's a timeless epic. Yes, this movie is epic. Die Hard is an epic classic film. And and like I said, now now I love the dialogue about this film, I just love the characters. Now let's go to the cast, then I go to the action sequences, because if I can talk for this movie for an hour, but I already did almost an hour long video. It's on my channel, but this is gonna be a retrospective review, so it's gonna be a little short, but everyone knows about the story. And many movies that try to do the Die Hard, but no movie could nail as Die Hard. Many of the movies that tried, Under Siege was almost good as Die Hard, but Die Hard still better. No movie could nail as Die Hard. Directed by John McTiernan, which was his best film after he did Predator, but this was actually his best film. And you know what? I love Predator, but I'll put this movie above Predator. Written was by Jeb Stewart and Steven E. D'Souza. The reason is because I forgot the name. But mostly, it was practical done, was done for real. Now, the group's leader, or the terrorist, is actually Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman. That's him. Rest in peace, Alan Rickman. This is actually his first role as in the movie. I think he was learning acting on Broadway. I think it took him 10 years until he actually got his first role. So he played Hans Gruber, the leader of the. He was actually. He was mastermind, and he was the leader of the group. And the first thing when the terrorists start shooting, they actually taking all employees in the building, as their hostages, and they killed the security man, and they took everyone as a hostage. And they take James Takagi, Yoshida Takagi, which he was a president of Nakatomi's building. They take him as a hostage because they actually, and it first looks like it's about the project in Indonesia. That's about, but no, it's actually about $640 million in bearer bonds in the world. And they asked Takagi to give them the code, and of course he doesn't give the code. So Hans Gruber goes and shoots him. 5, I'll count 3. There's not gonna be 4. oh, give me the code. I told you, I remember every line because I have seen this movie over 50 times. I have seen this movie. It's not over yet. I'm going to count to 3. There's not going to be 4. Now give me the code. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. It's just better than call the Tokyo. It's because I don't know. You just kill me. Okay. It shoots him, it says this is gonna be the hard way. And that time McClane, sees that and he's in a goddamn situation. He runs away, and I love the scene there, when he goes alone, he says, "What the fuck is just stop it, John? Because of that you asshole, goddamn think, and there's like these girls, and he pulls the fire alarm, he goes and he pulls the fire alarm. And he goddamn the terrorist that in the lobby says there's a fire alarm, and of course they said right away a terrorist, and they're supposed to fireman shows up, they actually turned around because he calls them, he actually canceled the fire alarm and says in the lobby, Bruce Willis nailed as John McClane. Yes. He nailed the movie as John McTiernan. It's my favorite character. My best movie Bruce Willis ever did. And I love this movie dearly to death, man. This is an epic, nowadays still an epic classic film. You know what? I'll put this movie above First Blood. It's better than First Blood in my opinion. Better than Aliens. Definitely better to me than Aliens. I'll put Die Hard above Aliens. That's me. And I love the Hard Target. I'll put this movie above Hard Target. That's just me. But yeah, Die Hard is such a badass film, and I love when John McClane goes, "Would you turn around?" And this is the first time, when Tony shows up with automatic gun and says, "The fire alarm has been called off, my friend. You better turn around. No one's gonna come to hell." And I love, trucks, police. You won't shoot me. You won't shoot me. Or police, there's real police. Yeah, so my captain didn't tell me. And he punches him, and actually it was a really great fight scene between McClane and Tony. And Bruce Willis falls down the stairs and breaks his neck. But actually, when that was a stuntman, it wasn't Bruce Willis. And I remember when this movie came out, I actually saw an interview on YouTube. It's still somewhere on YouTube. Which there was this girl who asked Bruce Willis about this movie, and she said, that was very great when you actually fall down the stairs. And he said, "What? No, that was somebody else." And she says, "No, it looks like you." But it was actually a stuntman who looks like John McClane, and they did really great job, and John McTiernan did such a fantastic job directing this film. They asked him to do the sequel, but he was making that time The Hunt for Red October, so he did Die Hard The Vengeance, because to me, Die Hard The Vengeance are just movies that are phenomenal, that I love so much, both of them. It's so hard to choose which one I love. I love both of them, I think that Die Hard The Vengeance is kind of underrated. And before I'm gonna say, "Oh, Die Hard 2 is underrated," Die Hard 2 is a classic and a Christmas movie by many people. Die Hard The Vengeance gets shit on it. That's one of the reasons why I prefer that one a lot. But yeah, Die Hard's still my favorite. The Die Hard film, they're both my favorite, but I love Die Hard to death. Now, the movie got actually 4 Oscars for Best Sound, Best Film, Editing, Best Effects, Sound Effects, Editing, and Best Visual Effects. But actually, it deserves 4 Oscars. But this movie not just an epic classic, it's one of the best action films ever. But yeah, let's now the cast. Like I said, Bruce Willis nailed as John McClane. He bleeds. He's a human being. I love the lines. I love that he cares. Bruce Willis cares about this movie. John McClane cares about this film. He cares about the police officers that are actually wounded. He cares. And I love how he cares. How he cares about hostages. I mean, he nailed, as John McClane, he nailed the part perfectly. But like I said, the cast, before I continue, there's so many actors who played in this movie passed away, which is so sad. Yes, I am really sad because they passed away. Now, Matt Landers, who played SWAT Captain Mitchell, who says, send in the car, that actor passed away 2015, which is very sad, Yes, he played Captain Mitchell in this movie, and he passed away. The guy who was in RoboCop, the guy who played SWAT Captain, he's still alive, but the guy who played SWAT Captain in this movie passed away. That's not fair in my opinion. So, rest in peace, Matt Landers. Paul Gleason, who played Chief Deputy Chief Dwayne T. Robinson, he also passed away. And yes, Paul Gleason nailed as Deputy Chief Dwayne T. Robinson. I love him, I always loved him. I wish that the actor would be returning the sequel. I guess they never wrote any roles for him. I love when he says kick ass, what's it look like? We're going in, that's suicide, a little bit 30 hostage out there, shit, Paul. That someone shot your father, maybe the same son of a bitch talking to the front. Excuse me, sir, what about the guy on the radio? Who knows, that's stockbroker. I love the movie to death, man. And he says, and the Sati goes in the building, it says kick ass, and just love Paul Gleason, I mean, why they could not put Paul Gleason this cover, I want Paul Gleason this cover as Deputy Chief Dwayne T. Robinson. Because yes, he's one of my favorite characters. A lot better than Thornburg, annoying reporter. I forgot the guy who played in Ghostbusters, William Atherton. He was also in the sequel, Dick Thornburg. I don't like him that much in this film, especially because he goes, especially because he's selfish, is looking for the story of his life just to get famous and get a lot of money. I don't like that by him. Or when he goes and break into John McClane's wife Holly Gennaro's home and threatens that poor lady with immigrants, and because of him, Hans Gruber figured out that Miss Gennaro is actually Mrs. McClane. But he rat him out with that new story, that idiot. Yeah, he rat Miss Gennaro into trap, and Hans Gruber through the TV finds out, that she's actually that is actually the wife of John McClane, who's fucking things up. And yeah, and that's just really sad about it. But yeah, I actually love Dwayne T. Robinson a lot. Paul Gleason did a fantastic job. Bruce Willis nailed. So rest in peace, Paul Gleason. LAPD supervisor Diana James, and of course Shelley Pogoda. She was dispatcher, but actually she was LAPD supervisor when John McClane from the roof goes and calls them. They actually filmed in real Los Angeles at night, and the night scenes work. It's so beautiful. This Blu-ray is so beautiful to watch. But yes, Diane, LAPD supervisor, Diana James, she's awesome, I don't remember exactly her words, but she says, whoever this is, your violation, no fucking shit, lady, I order pizza. And I love when McClane goes, and talks to her. I thought that Diana James, I know she changed her name now, but Diana James, that time as LAPD supervisor, she was beautiful, hot, and she did a great job, being one role, but that's still awesome. Reginald Well Johnson as Sergeant Del Powell was fantastic. I love that scene. I already mentioned the scene, why I love him. To me, John McClane and Sergeant Del Powell, they're both heroes, in my opinion. Dennis Hayden, he was Eddie, he did a good job. Hans Burin Fritz was awesome. William Hamburg, James, he was in Ghostbusters 2, rest in peace. He was in Ghostbusters 2. Alexander Godunov was the first one that actually passed away as Karl. He was the second henchman of Hans Gruber. He passed away in 1995. I mean, he was the same year born as my dad, but he passed away. You know, he was the first one that these actors that actually passed away. So rest in peace. James Shigeta, he also passed away as Takagi 2014. Also rest in peace. Alan Rickman, he passed away in January 2016. Yes, he was born in 1946, but he also passed away 2016. And Alan Rickman's character, Hans Gruber, is considered one of the greatest villains of all time. Everyone talks about Hans Gruber because he was such a mastermind. Gary Roberts also played Heinrich, did a good job. And Mary Ellen Trainor, she played Gail Wallens on the 60 News, and she also passed away. The actress also passed away. I think she was in Little Weapon. And yeah, now for the role of John McClane, you already know Sylvester Stallone was asked. He said no. This guy who was in Internal Affairs. Richard Gere, I always forget his last name and his name. He's actually one of the less important actors in my life. They asked him, he said no. Arnold Schwarzenegger also said declined, he said no. Robert De Niro, I think they asked. Mickey Rourke, Don Johnson, I think they all said no. Mel Gibson was also asked for this movie, but he said no. He actually accepted the role for Little Weapon. They offered Bruce Willis the role for Riggs in Little Weapon, but he declined. So Bruce Willis was cast, as John McClane because he was more for comedic stars. At that time he was working on Moonlight, and his first movie was Blind Date with Kim Basinger. And my mom was watching Bruce Willis in Moonlighting. I actually did watch more The Last Boy Scout, and later I watched Die Hard 1 and 2 until I discovered Die Hard The Vengeance. And I thought that Die Hard and Die Hard The Vengeance I watched all the time equally. That's one of the reasons I'm a huge fan of both the films, both the franchise. But I love Discovery so much. I mean, this movie is such a badass film. I mean, it's rated there, it just simply kicks ass. Now I love about the film, and actually I love about John McClane, who talks with himself. He talks with himself when he's about to do something crazy. I love him. I love the scene when he goes and kills Tony, and then he goes and of course then he goes in the roof. In the skyscraper when the terrorists took over the skyscraper. And yeah, just like in the book, John McClane has been hunted down when he calls for help. When Hans says, where's the master on the roof, go, and they all go to the roof. And I love when Carl, he gets pissed because Tony was his brother, and he says, no one kills him but me. I mean, I miss Alexander Godunov so much. I mean, he was in Witness with Harrison Ford, but I miss it so much. No one kills him but me, and they go and fire him. They chase him on a roof. He escapes. He grabs the machine gun, breaks down the lock on the door. He escapes through the elevator shaft. He starts climbing, and he jumps. In the elevator. He actually grabs the machine gun, uses the rope, tries to get the other shaft. But he actually jumps. That wasn't Bruce Willis. It was Stuntman. Stuntman's supposed to catch the first shaft, but he falls down and he gets caught. He actually caught himself on the next shaft, and that's how actually the camera showed up. And that was done for real because the stuntman could have been killed if he won't do that. There was no any safety lines. I didn't see any safety lines at all. And he climbs in the shaft. And then he goes, then he climbs, and Carl wants to kill him. He fires at the elevator on that shaft. Nothing happens, And I just love when McClane climbs down, when they send the cops and said, who's driving this this guy, Steve Wonder, and he grabs the chair and starts breaking the glass. Actually, the glass was so hard when Bruce Willis grabbed the chair, he broke the chair. They had to do a repeat between outtakes. I saw how they filmed the film. Between outtakes, he broke the chair a few times until the glass gets broken. That time, Heinrich shows up. Actually, no, it was Marco who shows up and says, Heinrich, Marco says, he's actually the 34th floor, in Germany, because most of the terrorists who played were actually German. Yes, they actually were German, but the most of them, and they did correct, they actually speak correctly as German. So Marco shows up, and I love John McClane, says, "Free motherfucker, Trevor, now!" And the guy don't shoot. And the guy Harry shows up, with his PP Walter PK with James Bond gun, and I love when Bruce Willis shoots him correctly, And that time, Marco grabs the gun, gets pissed, and I love the scene. My favorite scene when McClane is actually under the table, and Marco goes with the machine gun. Hector Cog starts shooting. He starts shooting, and McClane is crawling. And that time, under the table, it says, "Very good, pal. No more table. Very good, pal. Next time you have a chance to kill someone," and reloads the submachine gun, says, "Next time you have a chance to kill someone, don't hesitate." Tries to shoot him, and McClane goes, pow, 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 and shoots to pieces. He shoots his balls to pieces and says, "Thanks for advice." That was done for real, because the gun that McClane used was a real, but they were blanks. And it was so loud that Bruce Willis actually became deaf on one of his ear, because when he shot out of close, he became really deaf. According to the director, he became deaf on one ear because it was so loud, because the bang was so loud, because the gun and the blanks are real, and that was such a badass cool scene. And I love the scene when McClane grabs they don't show that, but he grabs the body, throws it the car, and one of the terrorists is actually using M60E, the machine gun, the one that Rambo used in Rambo First Part 2. And when lands on a police car, Powell is trying to escape with backwards, and they shoot him, they destroy his fucking car. And that time the police, when he calls police or radio, they showed up, and that's what happened. And and when the police shows up, he calls the person who called on the radio, and that time, McClane tells them the information. The reason why he wrote down the names is because that he knows more information about this group, and that's what actually it was. Then there's a scene, like I said, I love the character when Deputy Chief Dwayne T. Robinson shows up and says, "When Spring Swats, we in terrors, they don't say anything." "Oh, Jesus, man, who are you talking about?" "I know, sir. They're actually, he won't identify, It says, he claims that he killed a few terrorists. And Jesus, pal, this is a fucking bartender can do that. Man, I love Dwayne T. Robinson, this movie so much. I love Paul Gleason. I miss him so much. I miss how they work this movie. Why can't we have those kind of movies nowadays? And McClane, and of course McClane, of course, I love when actually, SWAT team, they go in the building, they try to fire because it's locked, you can't go in it because it's locked, it's automatically locked, the doors, you can't even break the glass, No, you can't, because it's probably bulletproof glass, so they call it breaking it. So they try to get in, and of course, the terrorists, because they see through the cameras, they're actually shooting on everyone, and of course, and they start shooting the lights, and Alpal finds out the first time that they're shooting the lights. They go out the lights, and I love when actually Captain Mitchell says, "Stand in the car," and I love that scene. And Matt Landers, he did such a good job, as SWAT team. I miss him. I prefer this guy over the guy in RoboCop. I prefer this guy as a SWAT team leader. I miss him so much. SWAT team captain. And I actually wrote down.
Let's go.
Macho assholes. No!
All right. Listen up, guys. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring except the 4 assholes coming in the rear in standard 2x2 cover formation.
Okay, we're all set. We're ready.
Kick ass.
Go! Right, let's do it.
They're shooting at him.
It's panic fire, they can't see anything. They're shooting at the lights.
They're going after the lights. Call them back.
It's not happening. Mike, burn it.
Don't be impatient. Just wound them.
Get them back. They're sitting ducks up there
they're
without
almost
lights.
in.
Get them back.
Almost in.
Send in the car. Send in the car. Rivers, Rodriguez, report.
Whoa, wait a minute. What have we here, gentlemen? The police have themselves an RV. Southeast corner.
Jesus Christ.
I don't care! Get back! Get the fuck back!
Get over there!
Schnell! Mach schnell!
Ah, Scheiße! Lass liegen! Weiter! Mach schnell!
Oh,
Mach schnell! Weiter! Halt hier! Mach los!
It was actually a SWAT van, 1943 Ford M Greyhound Light, M8, which was armored vehicle, and I love the line "send in the car." And yeah, the same model was later used in RoboCop 2. Yes, RoboCop 2. Nancy Allen was driving a SWAT van when she hit it in RoboCane in RoboCop 2. So I love the car. They use SWAT van, with two SWAT team members, and they try to get in the to break the door to get in the lobby. But that time, you know, terrorists, they go with missiles, you know, and I love when John McClane cares. He says, Marshall says, no, and he cares, you know. He also says, Al Paul, you coming in, is it? You know, Christ, but I don't know what kind of people are dealing with it, you know, and I just love that when actually, you know, McClane, he goes, and I love that when actually James and the other guy, I think was the other guy, I think it was, James Alexander, they go actually with custom rocket launcher. They actually build rocket launcher, and says I sees them and goes and fires with actually on the SWAT car missile and the real explosion. Yes, they blew up. They go and actually blew up SWAT. They actually go and they blew up a SWAT team. You know, a SWAT van, which is awesome. They go and blew up SWAT van, which actually was awesome. Real explosions. You know, in that time, you know, when the SWAT team, they actually are hurt, and I love when McClane says, you know, Hans, you motherfucker, she made a point, now let it pull back, you know, thanks for the advice, Mr. Colorado, but hit it again. And that time, you know, McClane, like a badass he is, grabs that axe, destroys the elevator, opens the door, you know, and he puts, you know, he actually correctly puts the computer monitor, puts the detonators in that C4 plastic explosive, uses the cable, and he ties around the chair with the cable, with the monitor, and with the C4 launcher, and he throws it, and when actually the monitor hits the ground, there probably sparkles and hole, and with the C4 explodes. You know, it's actually a huge explosion. They blew up. Actually, they blew up. You know, the building that was done for real. It wasn't CGI. No shaky cam. It was done for real. Now, Nakatomi Plaza was actually Fox Plaza by 20th Century Fox, which is owned, and no terrorists are in it. But yes, they actually blow up a whole building, which is awesome. And John McClane says shit and jumps. I love that, you know. Love that scene. I also do love the scene when McClane, you know, when Ellis, he tries to save himself. He's actually on drugs, you know. He tries to save himself. He goes to Hans, you know. He tries that they will let him go. So he tells them, you know, I can give it to you. That the guy's picking things up, I can give it to you. So he tries to call John, you know, but Ellis tries to save himself. So because he's useless, Hans kills him, you know, and says, talk to me, where are my debtors? Or should I show another one? Sooner or later I'll find something you do care about. Go fuck yourself, Hans. I just love that, you know. And I love, you know, when actually forgot his, when Venti Robinson, you know, he says is actually upset, you know, God, she just let someone to die, you know. Can't you want to wake up? Can't you read between the lines? He did everything cool to do it, you know. They're both dead, no way, you know. They're talking to us. You tell a partner of yours to stay away. To organize, he says, I'm going to really stay his ass. And just love how Al Pal goes in defense and says, the man's hurting. He's tired. He's alone. He doesn't see anyone. Denny squad from down here. So you're gonna tell me that he's gonna damn what you do to him if he makes it alive? Why don't you wake up while you're shouting? Listen, me, Sergeant. Anytime you wanna go, you know, you could say out Smith. No, sir, you will drag me away. I just love that, you know, when Hans Gruber calls them. I forgot the conversation between Hans and McClane was epic, you know. When McClane says, when actually McClane says TPKA, motherfucker, to him, you know, or when Hans Gruber calls him cowboy, you know, it's like cowboy. It's just awesome, you know. Or calls him Marshall Dillon, or Rambo. Actually, do you think you have a chance, Mr. Cowboy? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. You know, actually, I like Roy Rogers. I love that shiny shirts. I love that, you know. What's your name? Just call me Roy. What's up, Roy? I just love that, you know. I love the guy, Clarence Gila Jr. as Theo, who goes and breaks in the locks, you know, and they get, you know, on the Christmas, they actually get those better bonds and they try to escape. And there's a great fight scene between McClane and Carl, which is awesome. He uses the chains, he ties around his neck, and he says, I'm gonna eat you, I'm gonna cook you, and he goes, you know, down the stairs, and he throws in the wall. Or I love when Carl says, you know, he grabs the gun, you know, takes the radio of McClane and says, we're both professionals. This personal. I just love that. You know, or there's a scene when actually, you know, McClane and Hans Gruber meet each other. It says, hi there, you know, he's on the foot, and he said a run gun. I love that scene. There's a scene when McClane, you know, when Gruber calls all his team, and like three armed men shows up, and McClane goes to the machine gun, goes, and he hits the guy, you know, he hits the guy, I think was, I can't remember the guy with the long hair, but he goes and hits the guy with the long hair, which I thought that was awesome. I can't remember the guy, but he goes and shoots the guy, you know, which is awesome. And he runs away. They tries to shoot him, and he actually jumps in the. He jumps, you know. And he uses machine gun, and he blows Fritz's legs. The guy lands in the glass, and he's dead. That time, you know, Gruber shows up, grabs the machine gun, and I love the scene when it says, "Carl, she's the fenster." That means shoot the glass, and he's the guy, the guy says, shoot the glass, and they go to fight. They destroy all the glass, and McClane has to sprint, you know, through all the glass on foot, and he gets stabbed in the leg. I love that scene. There's also Alone when he grabs, you know, all these people and he puts them in the roof, you know, and McClane that time when he fights Carl, he grabs the gun, you know, when the FBI goes to the helicopters, there are two models helicopters, he goes to the gun, he actually goes with the gun, and when the guy opens the door, he goes, shoots him, you see all the blood. I mean, the whole wall was blood. That was real. And he goes and asks this lady, where's Holly Janelle? You took her, where? Where's the one down there? Just took her. And like all the guy with FBI with helicopters shows up and says, the whole building's gonna blow up. Come on, let's go. And they don't go, and he goes and starts shooting on the roof. And I love when the guy say, hey, the terrorists shooting the hostages. And they start shooting him with that 60. And I was like, what the fuck your guy is doing? He's trying to save everyone, you idiots. And they go and shoot at him, and McClane runs and says, I'm on your side, you assholes. The goddamn assholes. I was like, why the fuck are shooting at him? He's on your guys, you know, on your side, assholes. And when they try to shoot him, McClane grabs the fire hose. That's my favorite scene in the movie. He grabs fire hose, ties around his body, and when Gruber's about to blow the roof, McClane jumps, you know, says, God, please don't let me die. And the whole building explodes. Both helicopters blows to pieces, you know. The both end blows to pieces. They destroy the fucking helicopter. They're both models. And McClane, you know, slides down and sadly, actually happily, you know, that thing, you know. Actually, this scene, you know, he goes.
I promise I will never
Even think about going up in a tall building again.
Oh God, please don't let me die.
And swings himself, he catches himself and goes and breaks down the glass. He goes and breaks down the glass and he goes and breaks down the glass and he goes in the building. He has only 2 shots. He goes to confront Gruber and Eddie, and he's like, touch the gun. He grabs the gun, shoots Eddie in the head and shoots Hans, says happy trails Hans, and he goes, saves Holly. Hans falls down, he's dead. Now he saves everyone is happy, and Carl shows up, it's supposed to be dead, and the time, Paul goes and shoots him and kills him, which I love that scene, and I forgot to mention, Theo, he tried to escape with the money, and Argyle finds him, goes to the limo, crashes the limo, goes and punches him like a badass he is, and laughs. I love that movie. But yeah, there was also a commercial about this movie, but yeah. Like I said, great direction by John McTiernan. It's a Christmas movie. Bruce Willis said it's not a Christmas movie. Well, it is Bruce Willis. It is Christmas movie. This is actually his favorite role that he played. Bruce Willis recommended Bonnie Bedelia to play his wife, and that's Holly McClane, that he has to save her. And Holly McClane, Bonnie Bedelia, she actually became friends with Alan Rickman. She was went in with him on a lunch while they were shooting the film, and she said he was a gentleman. Even though he was a terrorist, he was a gentleman. I love also the the lines. I forgot to mention, besides EPKA motherfucker, but I love that all the postures. All the common speech, nothing but a commentative. I'm exceptional, Mrs. McClane. Since I'm turned into a kidnapper, you should be more polite. Or she says it's gonna be 30% of the 30%. I just love that, because he wants to kill. He has no idea. He has no idea to let anyone go. And that's what they say about the film. He doesn't have he does not planning to let anyone go with the hostages. He wants to blow out the roof. So if he steals $600 million, they're gonna find you unless you're already dead, and that's what he tried to do in this movie. He was actually a mastermind that he wanted to escape with the money. And he did not thought that John McClane is gonna stop him. Michael Kamen, best music score ever. Yes, I love Michael Kamen's music score, which I forgot to mention. Michael Kamen, he did music score for the 3 movies. Sadly not for the 4th and the 5th one, but yes, Michael Kamen's great score. Now I got this Blu-ray and it's 30-year anniversary. Now this is the back, John McClane. I love this scene. It's my favorite scene in the fire hose. Bonnie Bedelia as Holly McClane, and Alan Rickman recipes as Hans Gruber. And this is also, that's how you got the Blu-ray. The back. It was kind of expensive, but I'm glad that I got it. Just right in the way. If you don't have Die Hard, I recommend it. Great direction by John McTiernan. Great effects, all practical done, all done for real. It's rated there. It's a badass film. It's one of my favorite. Actually, it's my favorite action movie of all time. It's one of the greatest movies of all time, hands down. This was 20 July 1988. The budget for this movie cost $28 million. That won't be that much money, and it was worldwide $141 million. Opening weekend $601,000. in gross in US and Canada, $83 million to $141 million. It's been considered as a Christmas movie, and it still is. But to me, it's a badass action, kick-ass action film. Yes, Die Hard is a kick-ass action film. So my retrospective review is actually, it is practical done. Action sequences, everything that I said is retrospective review because it's my favorite action movie. I wear, the poster of the Die Hard on my channel. It's also my channel titled Rambo McLean for Life. So now you know why I'm a huge fan of the franchise, because the first one is the best one of them all. And Die Hard is a classic. It's a Christmas movie. It's an epic, a timeless movie. It's an epic, phenomenal, timeless, classic 80s action movie. One of the greatest action movies of all time. And also, I think that 20th Century Fox said it's one of the greatest Christmas stories ever told. But yes, I love this movie to death. Love the trailer. Love the performance by Bruce Willis. Yes, Bruce Willis has aphasia, so I wish him well, but it's really sad that he's retired, he can't play anymore. But I will talk about Die Hard more, and I'm gonna do more reviews on the film. But yes, Die Hard is the best one of all. It's my favorite of the all, with Avengers. But it's my favorite movie, because I love Die Hard. Love Die Hard, love Bruce Willis with a gun, his face, 30th anniversary. Bruce Willis is John McClane, like it says, he's John McClane. That's him. So yeah, that's my review. That's my review and retrospective review on Die Hard. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.